Salute. Grace and peace, everyone. Thank you for coming through. I see my Lotus is here. I see Brother Maybach is in the building. Salute to you guys. Thank you. Okay, so StreamYard is acting a little funky right now. Give me a second to get us rocking and rolling. Today is Mindful Monday. It's kind of a continuation from last Monday in regards to, I want to say that this is all divine, intuition, just because, AI, they're saying AI is, its intelligence is getting more comprehensive now, more intelligent, if you will. So the things that I was talking about last week, I seen in my algorithm, Mexico being brought up more and more. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Today's topic is When in Rome, COP 27, 10 Commandments, Mount Sinai. So let me fix my little bun. Hope everyone had a great weekend as well. We're coming up on a holiday that some are not subscribing to. Some are still, down with the okie doke. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not here to discuss that. But I know some of us are getting prepared for that, and nonetheless. But this conversation ties into the holidays, if you will, especially next month, because next month, people subscribe to that holiday as being Jesus's born date, which actually is not true. Yes, I like to burst bubbles. Call it mean-spirited. I call it facing reality. There's no Santa Claus. Baby Jesus wasn't born in December. But in case we haven't paid attention, I'm going to bring this to the surface. All religious leaders, all political leaders met in Egypt or Jerusalem, wherever they met, because they met someplace. It wasn't Egypt. For their 27th climate control conference. And in that, they were going to do a pilgrimage to the Mount Sinai. And basically, either add on to the 10 Commandments or this. I can't make this shit up, guys. I'm gonna go into some of the articles, either amend to the 10 Commandments or change the 10 Commandments around altogether. The thing that they're worried about, hold on, I don't like my little bun is like crooked. The thing that is bothering me the most, as we've been talking about, are you a Muslim? Are you an Israelite? While we were doing all this back and forth with each other, these people were meeting in Egypt and having a conference in regards to climate control. All right, we're going to dive in a little deeper. My Lotus, thank you. We got to talk. Look, I'm going to drop the link, guys. So anybody's interested in chiming in the conversation or just talking about, whatever, relatively speaking to the conversation, we can. Lotus just gave me she just dropped a bomb on me early in our chat. And I'm like, what? Listen, the veil is very thin, guys. A lot of this spirituality, if you will, that's taking place, that's happening. People are really waking up. I don't know why StreamYard is acting funky. Please don't do this to me, StreamYard. But anyway, nonetheless, let's go into our copyright please, and thank you before we go any further. All right. Before I go into any articles, I did put a fair use disclaimer in my description, but we're dotting our I's and we're crossing our T's. So, fair use, copyright disclaimer under section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit educational or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. And that was our disclaimer for the copyrights. Now, what we were talking about last week, also there was a young lady, and you guys could, I'm not familiar with this death of this young woman who was found in Mexico. Maybe you guys can, come on here and discuss that with me as well, because what I'm saying is that we're also we're in the end stages of the Jason months. Now, I'm not going to go into what Jason is. You guys can look that up as well. But just know that there's a lot of ritualistic stuff that happens around those times of the year, which is June, July, August, September, October, and November. I put it in my description. So, we're dotting our I's and we're crossing our T's. To write that in the banner, I guess I probably will do that. But I'm using that because I'm going to go into two articles that I found in regards to this Climate Control 27 or COP 27, right? That's a weird acronym to use. I also saw somebody had brought this onto their platform as well in regards to, all religious, the Pope and all other religious groups kind of doing this pilgrimage to Mount Sinai. And they had your Christians, your Muslims, your Hindus, your Hebrews, all walking together with this big, huge banner and says, "Many faiths, one world." Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds like another putting everything into one world. The fact that these people are going up to Mount Sinai. Now, this took place November 8th through the 18th, or excuse me, November 6th of this year to November 18th. I'm baffled because somebody did bring this up on their platform, and I'm glad that they mentioned it, because while we're all fighting about Kyrie and Kanye and who is the true Black Israelites, these people are over here trying to rewrite your Bible's history, your Torah, your Quran. And you worried about who these entertainers and what they're doing? Man, listen. Lotus, break down what 27 is too. Also, break that down for me, because I wanted to touch into that number, but I didn't have enough time. So let me go ahead and read a little bit, and you can help me dissect that number down, because this is all spiritual into fruition here. All right. So United Nations, I'm getting this off of the UN organization. Remember, fair use. This took place again November 6th through the 18th. What in the world? All right, so on the 20th of November, which is yesterday, I can't see because I don't got my good glasses on. Yesterday, Conference of the Parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on, because that's what it's the acronyms. On climate change, or COP 27, that took place in the Egyptian coastal city of Sharm el-Sheikh, concluded with the historic decision to establish and operationalize a loss and damage fund. Welcoming the decision and calling the fund essential, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that more needs to be done to drastically reduce emissions now. The world still needs a giant leap on climate ambition. The red line, in quotes, we must not cross the line that takes our planet over the 1.5 degree temperature limit, he stressed, urging the world not to relent in the fight for climate justice and climate ambition, in quotes. We can and must win this battle for our lives, in quotes, he concluded. From November 6th to the 27th, COP held high-level and side events, key negotiations, and press conferences hosting more than 100 heads of state and governments. Over 35,000 participants and numerous pavilions showcasing climate action around the world and across different sectors. That's the end of that article there. These same people that are going around doing this kind of propaganda, if you will, for climate change are still doing dastardly works in my motherland, Jamaica, and in other parts of the world. All right. So what's the point, right? What's the point? Here's another article coming out of the Jerusalem Post. All right. COP27. Will God deliver 10 commandments for climate change? The UN Climate Change Conference in proximity to Mount Sinai. Right. So what was Mount Sinai, guys? Mount Sinai was where Moses, according to the Bible, and let me get mine out so we can kind of reference it, where Moses went up to meet Yahweh, Lord God, and get the laws of the land, because the Israelites were freed under the Egyptian rule, and to set up shop, if you will, in the new land. Moses went up to Mount Sinai, spoke with Yahweh. There were some tablets written by God, Yahweh. And Moses descended from the mountain with 10 laws for the children of God to follow. Because there could only be one God. Now see, this goes back way back before the children of Israel. Because before that, if we're getting into spirituality, there were many gods. Again, this is why I'm saying I don't know if the algorithm is picking up on my conversations. But a lot of stuff that I just talked about on last week's Mindful Monday is playing out this very week. Am I a prophet? I don't know about that. I would say I'm kind of in tune, but I also think that the AI and all that good stuff might be tweaking some stuff. So now I'm like, well, damn, am I really saying something, or am I being into this also playing out? But it's bigger than that, because as I was talking about the road to El Dorado last week, a young woman was found. So I'm not going to give AI that much credit. Anyway, continuing, the Jerusalem Post says the UN Climate Change Conference in proximity to Mount Sinai could be the prime time for for the force of religion to speak climate truth to dirty power for the world and especially for Israel. Oh boy. One of the great joys of living in Jerusalem is participating in the all-night Torah study session offered. Nah, they don't want me to be my greatest. They don't want me to read the article. Hold on. Is participating in the all-night Torah session offered for free around town into wee hours of the holiday of the Pentecost or the Shabbat, celebrating the receiving of the Torah on Mount Sinai approximately 3,700 years ago. I have to admit that as I age, my ability to focus late into the night has waned, and my mind wanders, as a good Jew often does, and some of the big issues of today. On this particular holy night, as the rabbi was teaching, hold on, because this pop-ups, teaching about the giving of the law, I read the destruction of the Amazon. Remember, guys, the Amazon was on fire, 2027? There was a big forest fire. How did the Amazon, our lungs of the earth, catch on fire? Y'all remember that? And remember that Australia was burning as well? The wildlife out there was burning. Remember that? Okay. So the rapid melting of the ice caps, the food and water scarcity that is looming, new climate-driven pandemics, wildfires in Israel and California, 600 million Africans without power, basins with rockets but no water, supercharged typhoons battering the Philippines, and more. What an indulgence, I thought to myself, to sit here and glean lessons from the ancient text while God's world burns at the hands of the Creator's creatures. We are indeed a self-destructive species, knowingly and greedily exploiting the world to our own detriment. Perhaps at the genesis of creation, the persecuting angels had indeed been correct to lobby God not to create humanity with our equal inclination and freedom of choice. 5 years ago on Shabbat, the founding father of utility scale solar energy on Earth, and one of my mentors, the legendary Arnold Goldman, ascended to heaven. His children asked me to give a sermon in his honor at the 1 year anniversary of Arnold's passing. Arnold, who was drawn to the renewable energy of mysticism, died when the Torah reading was given of the Torah on a mountain trembling with geothermal energy, engulfed by lightning and battled by wind. The reading of the prophets of the day was Ezekiel, the only place where electricity in the eye of the fire, Ezekiel 1:4, is mentioned in the Bible. So he's bringing, so this person who wrote this article is referencing about some terms, I guess you would say terms referencing into the Bible. So he's giving his reencountment of what happened on this day, how he's been reflecting. All right, so I'm not going to read all of it too much. All right, so he says here, the United Nations Climate Change Conference, its proximity to Mount Sinai could be the prime time for the force of religion to speak climate truth on dirt for the world, and especially for Israel. 3 months later, I found myself humming George Harrison's "I Really Want to See You, Lord," while climbing Mount Sinai with friends in the heat of August, the hottest and driest month, in search of climate miracle. We know that the 27th United Nations gathering of the world leaders, commonly referred to as COP27, taking place in Sinai, is unlikely to change the course of climate and human history as we accelerate towards the doomsday cliff. All right, Israeli delegations went to COP27 empty-handed and willfully blind a week later after its fifth election in 4 years, with both leading candidates for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Yair Lapid idolizing the destructive gas companies. All right. Their moral power was full on Friday, October 28th, when more than 10,000 young people conveyed on Tel Aviv for Israel's climate march. Days before our national election and a week or so before the UN Climate Control Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh. So let's see here. Let's get down a little bit. I didn't really read too much about in this article. It's a very lengthy article, but I'll go back to it. I just wanted us to get a mindset of what this is looking like, right? Also in this article, it says, what if Mount Sinai, a new climate covenant, was declared with 2 tablets featuring the 10 commandments? So what do we put in there? What is the other commandment now? Thou shalt not pollute. All right. So, my beauty queen is in here. Yeah, Wi-Fi is lagging and it's acting up. I know, guys. I apologize. It's on StreamYard. I don't know if this is about on whatchamacallit. If YouTube is doing this, but StreamYard is lagging. What I will do is cut the audio off, because my internet is working fine, but I think it's StreamYard. Press 1 if the audio is all right now. Hit number 1. All right, so this is just a little bananas for me to take in. I've been sitting on this all weekend just trying to figure out what is it exactly that they're trying to accomplish besides with climate controlling here. I mean, they've been talking about climate control for the longest, yet they're still going into countries like Jamaica and polluting. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I think it is StreamYard. Ugh. I want it to be great on StreamYard. Yeah. Whatever. And there's still things that are being done out there that is affecting their climate. There's been people petitioning against that, but it goes on deaf ears. So now the fact that they're bringing in the 10 commandments is almost like there's this type of mockery going on with religion, or they're trying to have everybody go on one accord when it comes to religion, because they don't want us all waking up and then just trying to, discover and decipher, well, who am I? What am I? Again, this is that conversation that people have been having in media in regards to, Kanye and Kyrie, especially Kanye, where now they're trying to shut that down. And it's like, you know what? We're not talking about that. So while everybody was wrapped up into this conversation with who's an Israelite, those Israelites over there are doing some kind of hoodoo voodoo. like they doing some spells out there, and we're sitting up here like, no, for real, we really the Black Israelites. Like, we're having these debates. No, Kanye is real stupid. No, Kyrie's actually smarter than. No, Kanye is real smart. No, you hear how foolish we sound? Those people out there doing some stuff, and you talking about who's a real Black Israelite? Man, listen. Then I've come to I don't know what this young lady's name is, but she was murdered out in Mexico. I think her name is Chanel or Chanel. Forgive me because I'm not following it. I don't want to see her death. They try to say, it was her friends and so forth and so on. But what was interesting, what I heard on one channel was that the young woman was naked and getting beat up. I'm sorry, y'all, and you're going to call me a conspiracy theorist, but that sounds like a ritual. We're still in the months of Jason. This is the last month. We just had a lunar eclipse in a blood moon. a celebrity died. Another celebrity just listen. This is not. Oh, this young woman went out on a trip, and her friends. If you look at her pictures, and I'm not trying to shame her, but I don't know if she was working on being a model or some type of industry. It's not making sense, but my spidey senses are telling me something different. All right. We hear these stories sometimes that these young women go out there and they're not found, they're murdered. I think it was Elizabeth Smart. We've heard these stories before. And it's always weird that it's like Mexico. Where else do they say that's somewhere overseas? Yeah, Tommy. And how Tommy, I don't know. We don't know how these people are really living, right? So we got to take it for word that, something, they were really sick. Also, the kid from the brother of, I think it was Backstreet or NSYNC, he passed away. But he was telling social media, like, look, all I want is my money. I want, my rights. Blase blue, and next thing he's off. Within these Jason months, we saw that. I think who else was it that passed away within this past 6 months? Oh my gosh, Coolio. Another one who was out here talking about how the industry X, Y, and Z. Next thing we know, he's gone. This is what they're doing. I mean, I don't know. So I saw, I want to drop the link so you guys can come up here. Be very mindful though what you're saying. Use keywords, trigger, because the algorithm. Right. So, I'm saying this for me, and I'm speaking for myself. It's that I don't really trust what's being fed to me. But then again, I don't know, listen, for a long time, I was in denial with Prince. I'm like, there's no way, if this man was living this type of life, there's no way that he could have died from said alleged drug overdose. But now, them doing a little more research, and they could be tainting his name, but he was taking oxycodone because he had some back injuries, but then he's been wearing heels for like 30 years and performing. And so I had to drop my, superstitious self down a notch to be like, oh, maybe it's possible, he was on that painkillers. I'm like, Prince though, I think he died in June. No, was it June? When did Prince die, y'all? I think it was June. No, April. It was April. Michael died in, was it August? You got to look at when these deaths are lined up with the months, because they're fitting in with the Jason. So, we don't know how these celebrities are really living, right? So we can't really say everything is of that with the industry. But, I mean, let's be for real. That industry life, we know it. People tell us, hey, I did some things for a piece of change. You know what I'm saying? They did some strange things for a piece of change. And it's been going on since the 1920s. That they've been doing, nefarious things. I mean, poor Judy Garland, the little girl from The Wizard of Oz who played Dorothy. I think she was either 14 or 16, and she was not overweight, but she was chunky for her age. Mind you, she's a little girl. They strapped her up in some elastic band and pulled her and had her boobs, flattened. So she looked younger than her age. Then they started giving her amphetamines so she can lose the weight. She's 14 years old. So she can lose the weight, but not knowing that it was causing her to be hyper. And then they gave her a sedative to put her to sleep. What? And the mother's like, you do, okay, it wasn't April? Thank you, Lotus. So that's beginning before, all right. Yeah, I thought it was April. So the mother's going along with the program because she's like, we need money for our family. You know, this is what they do. This is what these parents do to their children because they either were, you know, a failure in their little limelight, or they're so, poor, destitute, that they're going to sell their kids out to get the money. Gary Coleman, allegedly Aaliyah. This is not news under the sun. So that's why I have to question certain things. So with this young lady, being murdered allegedly out in Mexico, and the pictures that they're showing her is not highlighting her to be like this, just regular girl. She looks like she could be an industry, video or aspiring video or something like that. And then they're like, she was naked and was getting jumped and beat up. That sounds like a humiliation ritual to me, guys. I'm sorry. It sounds like a humiliation ritual. Why? Because this is what they do. They're spinning these narratives out here for us. Because what they're really doing is trying to change the 10 Commandments and having some climate control, a conference out in Egypt. I mean, just make it make sense for us. So we're over here looking like, lost in the sauce and stuff. We're talking about minuscule things, minute things, and there's people out here doing some damage control. Eventually, they're going to try to get us on one accord with, one religion. You can't have all these ideologies. You can't have all these. You can't be out here free thinking. You can't be out here awakening and saying, no, I don't believe in this stuff, because the patriarch system, that religious system, is dying. So they're holding on to it. And they're going to do whatever they need to do to keep us in line, keep us in check. Climate control not climate control, because you can't change the climate. You can't control the climate. If it's God's will, then that's God's will. But these people have been able to manipulate the climate and and do some damage control in society. So yes, you're going to have tsunamis. Yes, you're going to have hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. I don't know about that. I think part of that has to do with man doing that. I don't think that's naturally happening. But when I saw the Amazon, partially of the Amazon in flames a couple of years back, and I think I want to say 2017, my heart hurt, because I've never, from childhood to the adulthood now, never seen the Amazon or heard of the Amazon being on fire. The Amazon is the lungs to the earth. We get our air filtered through the Amazon, and that's on fire right now, or at that time. I don't know, y'all. Papa Aura's in the building. Peace, salute. Okay, so she had okay. All right. See, I don't, I am not, I didn't go diving too deep into this young lady's storyline. Some people are shaken up behind it, and rightfully so. But my spidey senses be like, Plus, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see anybody's death on TV. I don't want to see any of that stuff. But there's people that are doing that. They show us the trauma, and I can't see that kind of thing. If it was all just jealousy and people are out there just, her friends are not really her friends, that's a sad case. That's a sad story. But like I said, we were talking about this last week about Mexico, about, the stolen goods. And I'm not saying that ties in any way. I'm just saying that, out there they did rituals too in Mexico. They did sacrifices. So I'm just like, part of me doesn't want to believe that this is all just some friends doing this dastardly stuff. But it can happen. I don't want to say that can't happen, because, people be plotting, and that's a sad thing. It's like, damn, well, then I don't want to be hanging out with anybody. So we got to be very careful when we're doing that, when we're traveling, and, shit, if you, like, who do you trust then? You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I'm going out with my homies, all for us to get into some little argument or whatever. Now y'all want to beat me to death? The weird thing was, exactly, Maybach. The weird thing is that she was naked. So I'm like, that story also reminds me of the young lady who a couple of years back was found in a refrigerator. She went with her friends. I think it was in Chicago. Y'all are good with these events. Let me know in the chat when this was. But anyway, she was with her friends, and come to find out, they said, she was with some guys. But they found her body slumped up in the refrigerator. And that's looking bad, because again, that's your Black community. You know what I'm saying? So people are looking at you on the outside, and you're proving them right every time. So you think they care what you have to say? I wonder how many of any consciousness, enlightened people went out there to this conference. We're worried about certain things. Yes, we're worried about getting our land back and stuff. But listen, these people are out here, above and beyond, doing this crazy stuff, wanting to change the 10 commandments around. Like, how does that tie in with climate control? How does that, was it 2019? Okay. Right. So that wasn't even that long ago. Look at that. That wasn't that long ago. That happened. And it's just weird. It's just, these stories are very weird to me. Okay, so yeah, see, Raz Girl, that's what I'm getting. I'm like, something, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. And I could, like I said, I could be just, yeah, that was her story. They try to put it like she was with a guy that did that, but she was also with her girlfriends. So it's like, damn, I can't go out with my girlfriends without them scheming. And these are young women. You know what I'm saying? This could be my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And thank God, my daughter was in an accident 2014, a near-death accident. And she went with people that she didn't know. She knew, I think she was friends with one person, but there was a group of them. And my stomach is getting bubbly right now just thinking about it. My daughter, my oldest daughter, they went on a trip and they were jumping off some cliffs. And 20 feet at that. They were buddied up and they wore their life preservers. And as my daughter was getting ready to go with her partner, they missed the mark with the people who were already going down. And my daughter went down head first on the person beneath her. She fractured her jaw in 5 places. She hit the water unconscious. It just so happens that there were some EMT workers out there hanging out. And the person that she hit, he pulled her by her life preserver and got her out of the water. The EMT workers were there and they noticed that her jaw was collapsing onto her lungs. So they made a split-second decision and did an emergency trach on her so that they can have her get some air into her lungs and breathe. She had to be air-vacced from one state back to New York because in that state, they didn't have a trauma center. So they air-vacced her back to New York. And one of the kids that were with her called me up to let me know this. And throughout the duration of everything that was happening, he was keeping his calm and he was letting me know this is what they're doing, so forth. Didn't know him. He didn't know my daughter. Those kids stayed until me and my husband got up there. It was a 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour drive from the city up to upstate New York. All those kids stayed with my daughter by her bedside in the ICU while she was on a ventilator and stayed by her side until I got there. And then we sat and we talked and they introduced themselves and they were so scared, but they were so comforted that I was keeping them, like motherly figure to them. My daughter stayed in the ICU for 3 days, and then she was able to come off the vent, and they moved her to the floor, to a regular floor. But those kids came by every day, and they're still friends with her to this day. So I couldn't imagine what this mother is feeling with her child being out there dead. And maybe this mom knew some of those people. I didn't know any of these kids. And they saved my daughter's life. So, I couldn't fathom what this mother is going through. But it's just a weird thing. It's like, how does this, it's just weird. It was just weird. The hotel said that they, exactly, Maybach. So, that's why I'm like, some of this stuff that gets highlighted, it's 222 right now. Some of the stuff that gets highlighted only brings my spidey senses up a little bit more. So I'm just like, I want to take it as this was a very shameful, disgusting and sad death for this young woman. But at the same time, I'm like, because of that, what you just said in the chat. So, we, monsieur, have to do better here. Being mindful, you know what I'm saying? But just take everything on face value and then dive a little deeper. That's why I said this is my feeling. This is my take on it. Is it the right thing? No, I'm not here to convince anybody if it's sacrilegious or not. But there are bigger things that are happening on the grand scheme of things that we have to question. What is all these other things that are happening? You know what I'm saying? It makes me want to question everything because I'm learning things that have been hidden behind the scenes for so long that it's like, okay, so I can't trust anything that I'm seeing. I can't trust anything that I'm hearing, because what I've been learning for so long, you know what I'm saying? Like we've been bamboozled, we've been hoodwinked on these things, and it's like, damn, I feel a certain kind of way. I feel a certain kind of way, because I'm like, this is what I've been taught, and then they're here now. Look, they're going to try to change the 10 Commandments. Please make that make sense for us. How does that? 3,700 years ago, and you today, last week, excuse me, thinking about changing the damn 10 Commandments? I mean, this is outrageous. So, I'm not going to go back into the article too much, because I think that was probably interfering with our, what was interfering there. But also, guys, know that there are my website is open now for personal readings. You guys are interested in getting a personal reading, it's on the scroll there going across the screen. You can go into the website and book a reading there. All right. Then that's it. I don't really have much more to discuss. It was just weird that nobody was talking about this except for I think it was a Hebrew Israelite channel that I was watching, and they were the only ones. Nobody is talking about how these people went up to this summit in Egypt, not too far from Mount Sinai, and how they're talking about wanting to change the 10 Commandments. Nobody's talking about that. They still talking about some Kanye and what he's saying now. Kanye's not paying your bills. Kanye doesn't care about you. Doesn't know who you are. The fact that we're going so hard for this entertainer is mind-blowing. Somebody had put him on him saying something 10 years ago, on the Breakfast Club, and that's circulating. And I'm like, you know what? That's cute. Again, though, that was 10 years ago. And what did he do in those 10 years? He done got himself Kimmy. He done got his kids. He wasn't talking all that Black Lives and White Lives Matter. He was doing his Pablo Saint tours and all that good stuff. And now all of a sudden, because he didn't want to who wasn't getting any deals, or some deals weren't going right with Adidas or whoever he was having an issue with, he now wants to have the Black community as a Batman cape and says, white lives, Black lives. They got this poor Kyrie apologizing now. So listen, that just lets you know that they have been compromised. Their ops in that respect, where they're bowing down to something greater than them. It is not God, because God wouldn't let you sacrifice like that. Kanye's talking about, I'm sacrificing everything. I don't have nothing on the line. Da 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 da. Well, go sit yourself down and do some meditation. Go do what Russell Simmons did and go to Tibet and sit down and meditate. Because you're poisoning the algorithm, spewing out all this stuff because you're angry, and you need to get focused and centered. Beloved, take some time off. I know social media can be a little how do they say, addictive. But damn, take the day off if that's the case. He's got all this money that he can fly to another country and just kind of get centered and get zen. Get zenned out. Put things in perspective. He said he was going to take some time off. And he's back at it again. So they kneel to something bigger than them that compromises their money. And why I love the Honorable Minister Malcolm X is because he wasn't bowing. Even when he was told, listen, don't say too much about this guy. You know, don't talk about it. And Brother Malcolm was like, well, okay, I won't. But why is every other white man, blonde-haired, blue-eyed devil, and not this one that you don't want me to talk about? Brother Malcolm started to wake up. Was seeing things on another level, like, and that's the danger that they don't want the true children to know. They don't want us to wake up, be knowledgeable of ourselves, be knowledgeable of who our creators are, and not dependent on somebody else. They don't want that. So yes, all your favorite actors, actresses, athletes, they fold. Everybody was on the bandwagon with Kaepernick. Kaepernick took that knee, but he also took the bag at the end of the day. Says, oh, I still want to play football. At best, you will be a coach, but you're not buying anything. I don't think there's any black owners of any of the teams, football or baseball or basketball. Owners. That's what I'm saying. At best, you will be a coach. We're out here on some small fries. We are the small fries, the McDonald's small fries out here. The people who are still in control of certain things. And all we can do is sit here and talk about that. And that's not helping you. That's not helping you get your mind right. That's not helping you, any solutions. These entertainers are not offering solutions. They're just talking. They can't really offer solutions because they're under a contract. If they break that contract, that's risking it all. So this is why Kyrie, I guess, made his apology. Because I'm like, listen, I understand. So that money gets you trapped up. You're idolizing that. If you're really like, you know what, F all of this. I love Khalees for what she is doing now. She was Nasir's daughter. She's Nas's daughter's mother. After that whole big fiasco between him and her and, child support and all this other stuff, she went off the radar with her music. She's not in that limelight. She's got a land out Midwest somewhere where she's got a little farm going on, creating products for, for your face, body care, all organic things, holistic. And she's not stressed about any of that. She came on Instagram not too long ago to air out Beyonce and was like, listen, you couldn't call me to tell me and ask me if you could use that sample. Like, we're cool enough. We're on, speed dial. That's the only time she got into, that gossipy kind of stuff. But other than that, this woman has left that circus alone. Whatever residuals she gets from her albums, that's what it is. But she's not sweating this whole, I gotta be inducted into this particular group and compromising herself. But they did a humiliation ritual on her. And that was the whole, she's a crazy baby mama, and she's an alcoholic, and, she's causing Nas headaches and all that good stuff. Listen, she might be a little wild, but it takes two to tango. And again, we don't know how these entertainers are behind the scenes. We don't know how Nas gets down. He seems cool, but we don't know. You know what I'm saying? They could have had that toxic relationship. So there's two sides to the story. And I like that she is championed out of that. And she's living her best life. She's building up a recording studio on her property. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the sacrifice that we should be doing. Cutting off those ties with those people, because they are going to cause you to either put yourself in a mental hospital, defame you, or eventually terminate you completely. And if you got kids and stuff like that, you want to rethink your contract. That's all I'm saying. So, excuse me. This is like late lunch. So I dropped the link, guys, if anybody's interested. I'm coming up, just chiming in with the conversations, with the topics that are out here now. You can most definitely come up here. Because, I don't really like to be one-sided about certain things. But, the truth of the matter is that we're out here, on some small fry time. While these people are making all kinds of crazy moves, and we're just sitting up here like, like we have to get organized, not all together, because I'm not with that. Oh, we got to get together and work this out. You can't do that. You have to do it on a smaller scale. And that's within your family, your friends. Like I said before, if you can't really have this kind of dialogue with your family members, you're not going to be able to do that with other people as well. And not all family members. You know what I'm saying? If you got 3 or 4 making some headway there, some strides, then go for it. You know what I'm saying? The key thing is that we're doing this. We're sacrificing ourselves in the respect of, the time, the labor, the dedication, so that the next generation, our children, there's something there for them, and then or our grandchildren. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the foresight that we need to have. A lot of us are just living for that moment. We're living for the now. And that's cute. That's great. It feels good. But when the now is over, what do you have after that? So, we got to get involved in, I'm not a political person, so I'm not going to say you got to get involved in your politics. But if that's what you feel is going to help, then by all means. But what I'm saying is just within your group, just within your core circle, it's doing some type of organization. If you are an at-home parent and you're teaching your children, maybe you can have other, children that you can teach as well. If a parent doesn't want to have their kids in school, you know what I mean? Like there's so much that we can do that we're not exercising those liberties. And you don't have to always go to something bigger to get assistance. Like it's always been just networking between each other. And we have to go back to those roots, because we're falling suit into somebody always giving us money instead of working for it yourself. And there's ways to get around it. You just got to look. You got to invest that time, because half of us we're in our midlife. So we're closer to the end than we are closer to when we started. So now your next generation coming through is who you have to provide for, and you need to educate them. So while I'm learning all this other stuff, I'm telling my kids this, so that they can be insightful, like, oh, I see what's going on, because they need to be aware. It's going to get a little maybe worse for them, but we don't have to let them have that type of environment. So if we're providing a safe haven, if we're providing networking within our own communities, your neighbors. And that's where it is, guys. It can't, the days of looking for outside help, I don't know. Everybody's happy. Like Trump is thrown in his hat again and saying he's going to run for presidency. But just remember, yeah, he had some good points in there and stuff like that, but we can't be looking for saviors. I mean, your parents should be your savior. You should be your own savior in that respect. Now, when I say we can't be looking for saviors, we can't be looking for man to be our savior. You have to have this connection and this dialogue with your Most High, whoever you subscribe to. And your family. Your family's going to be that one to, to buffer. I know our families are not, the greatest. Some of us are not around our family members. It doesn't have to be blood. This could be, your soul family. We got to rally behind each other, or with each other, rather. Not behind, but with each other. And form these mini units, because we can't keep moving in a big organization anymore. Every time we try to do that, it gets dismantled. But people want to band together and go to Mount Sinai, and that's okay. But remember, who are the ones that are doing that? The chosen children will always have a problem, because we're fighting a beast. We're fighting against the principalities. And so we're always going to be scrutinized. We're always going to have the short end of the deal. Hey, I love it. You know why? Because that makes me stronger in my convictions. It makes me stronger in doing the things that are the impossible. It's scary. It gets a little scary, yeah. Because you sometimes only can depend on yourself. And that can be a little scary. That can, seem intimidating. That can be frightening. But when you have faith in something higher than yourself, and you can make these mountains move, then hey, that's it. That's it. But we can't keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe and going with the okie doke. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody in social media except for one group of people, I think it was the Hebrew Israelites, had this posting about the Pope and everybody going to Mount Sinai. And I'm like, I don't know about y'all, but that's a little scary for me. It's scary in the sense of, it's like damage control. Because you're mixing some things together that don't go together. And I know they say science and religion, and that's what they've always tried to do. They separate church and state. They've always tried to separate religion, and now all of a sudden you want to use religion to imply to the people, get your acts together, don't desecrate the earth no more. And, that sounds good on the outside, because it's like, okay, we're going to bring everybody together on one accord and awareness of their earth what God created. But the subsection to that is now we've controlled everybody. So it's one religion. And then it becomes the children who are speaking out, the children of God, the chosen ones who are speaking out and saying, no, that's wrong. You're going to become the heretic. You're going to be the one that's going to be under fire. That's us. That's me. So they're going to flip it into bizarro world. So everything that we've been talking about, according to scripture that we know, is going to now start to sound like, sorcery, witchcraft, bizarro world. Like they're going to have it flip on us to make it seem like we're the wrong ones when we've always been the right ones. The light ones, the light bearers, the children of God, of Yahweh. See what I'm saying? Like the subsection is, it's going to backfire. The outer layer looks like, oh, this is going to be an improvement. We're getting everybody together on one accord. We're using religion because everybody seems to, fall in line when it comes to religion. So, hey, we're going to do that. And that sounds great. That looks good. But the subsection is that it's going to backfire. Because these people are they're trying to create a new laws according to religion, according to scripture. That's blasphemy in my book. I mean, but then I'm like, y'all always been changing the book around. So, hey, you know what? That's why I'm like, I can't even win. I'll just sit back, mind my own business. And, you know what I'm saying? Got my brother Maybach in the building.
Salute. Good afternoon.
Grand afternoon to you. How are you?
Yes. Yeah, you was hitting everything right on the top of the head.
I mean, does it make any sense? Like they've been doing this, so it's like, okay, so they're rewriting the Bible, they're rewriting the 10 Commandments. And you, I, and everybody else in this chat is going to be sounding like we the bad guys in here because we flipping it to what they've been telling us all along. Now they're rewriting things. What do we do?
It's spiritual warfare going on. You know that, Foxy.
Indeed.
Talk about some portals that they opened up and summons some type of entities in. So a lot of this stuff that's going on, is due to those facts. Wicked ways. Like you said, the young lady, from what they said, she was a successful business owner herself. She did kids hair. She was very successful. And 24 hours of her landing, and she's no longer with us. That's crazy. What? They did her dirty. Yeah, they did that girl dirty. So she didn't get
to enjoy her vacation.
She did not. 24 hours later, she was no longer his. Yes.
Wow. Now, how old was she? Do you know?
About, I think they said 24 to 25, something like that. And if you look at one of the videos, I don't know if you've seen the video where she walked into the room. I've seen none of them. Okay, well, there's a video that's out of her recording where she enters the villa and she's walking, looking for her friends. And when she finds them, they all congregated in one of the rooms. This one particular female looks very upset. You know what I'm saying? That she found them in the room. And, and they were supposed to be men down there. I heard these men really ain't men, if you know what I'm saying.
Now that I heard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these men really ain't men. Because if it's a girl's trip. Yeah, correct. So, if it's a girl's trip means all women. Yes. No men at all. So those men that they claiming, oh, where were the men? They were supposed to be men. Those weren't men that was down there. Because let me just say this, right? Even if it's a man who comes out the closet right?
Right.
And puts out his sexuality. Those type of men love women. They love females. They're not going to let nothing happen. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to say it without saying it.
Yeah.
You know, correct. So, you know, those type of men will never let something happen to their female friends. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, yeah. So, but like you said, those the Kyrie, the Kyrie, Kanye West was a distraction. The death of Takeoff, all these other deaths, distractions, like you said. They having serious meetings out in Egypt about climate changing and all, you know, weather modification and all that. You know what I'm saying? You know, the real meetings are always done behind closed doors or underground.
Absolutely. Oh, and in secrecy.
Correct. So while they distract us and we're sitting here arguing about this and that, about this one, the post that he made about a movie that he posted, and, you know, they want to crucify him. But what about Amazon? It's being sold on Amazon. And they said since Kyrie put more attention on it, they said the price went up on this movie.
Right. So he did a PA service, help the guy out and get more revenue for his movie.
Correct. And you know him apologizing, he had to do that because, you know, sponsors, money, the money he was going to lose and all that other stuff. That's why they demanded him to, you know, though they came up with the stipulations about the $500,000, you know, the organization that, you know, all this crazy stuff. To me, you know what that is? It's showing the others that, okay, nobody stood with you when you try to bring awareness to this movie, right? Nobody stood with you. Which, if all these other players, if they stood with Kyrie, they can control everything. And that's the problem that we have in this country that we have going on. When it's time for us to band together, unite together, and take a stand and stand for something, people are too busy. People are too worried about, oh, well, I'm going to lose this money over here. I get it. I understand you need your money. So, you know, your livelihood, your family and stuff like that. But when do we take a stand? Because other nationalities have policies in place for them. You understand?
Absolutely.
Hate crime bills and... go ahead. Say that again.
No, I said absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Correct. And people don't understand. We're getting further pushed back, right? We're getting pushed back as people. We're getting crumbs while everybody's eating great. Everybody's eating off plates. Full foods, not crumbs being handed down, you know, not the cold pieces of meat, not the pieces of meat that nobody wants, you know, and nobody wants to take a stand. Everybody wants to say, oh, this guy's crazy. You know, he made a post. He didn't comment on the post. He just posted, like he said, it was to hit his people who follows him, who may not know, because the movie is 2 years old or a year old. Okay. People are not talking about that. Yeah, the movie's a year old. Shaq made money off of the movie, selling it at his movie theater. Yes.
Oh, really?
Whether he knows, yes, he has a movie theater that's in Newark, New Jersey, that's partly owned by Shaq and another gentleman. And I'm pretty sure they know and get told of all the movies that are getting shown at the movie theater. You cannot tell me, they have no idea. So Shaq coming out saying Kyrie's was an idiot for you know, talking about that or for making a post. I guess he thought that it was never going to be exposed about him. You know, and Charles Barkley already came out too. Charles Barkley made himself look like a real, you know, fool. I'll just put it like that. He made himself look like a fool. You know, by being on The View and talking about this, you could tell who's getting paid to say certain things. You know what I mean? You could tell. You know, you could tell.
Well, this is what I was saying, that's what they call humiliation rituals. So rituals don't necessarily have to be in, you know, vindicative to an actual like blood sacrifice. There are these things where they have these people doing these bandwagon chitlet circuit, you know, going on different platforms and talking against these people, like Shaq going against Kyrie. Correct. Now, I didn't know that they have a movie theater together. Yeah,
they do.
That's messed up. That's your partner, and now your partner just threw you under the bus.
Correct. No, and you know what's so funny too, Raz Girl? Not just that. People don't talk about this. Kyrie 2 years ago donated $1.5 million to the WNBA because of the underpayments that the women get. Yes, he donated, and this is facts. It's out there. It's public information. He donated 1.5 million. He's the only player that donated to the WNBA 2 years ago. Wow. Yes, but yeah, and look what they're doing. Somebody said it perfectly. What they're doing to Kyrie is a humiliation ritual. But you know what it was called back in slavery? I think it was called buck something is the proper terminology. Yeah. Where if one slave rebelled or stood against the machine,
right?
They made you look like a fool in front of the rest of the group to let the group know, if you do this, this is what we're gonna do to you. You know what I'm saying? So buck breaking, that's what it was called. Buck breaking. Right. That's the proper terminology. Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So yeah.
So they're not gonna say that Kyrie just donated to this family. They're gonna make him just look like he's some wackadoo out here. That's why I honestly, I can't get too invested with this because it drives me bananas. Like I'll go on YouTube and I listen to other platforms and stuff, but then I've just been like checking out and watching stuff that just like desensitizes my mind because it's just too much. Because we're getting caught up into this rapture with them, and I'm like, seriously, nobody talked about this whole summit, this conference that just happened. And I wouldn't say that I'm a completely religious person. But I grew up like that, so I kind of take this a little offensive. Like, what are y'all trying to do? You know what I'm saying? And we're caught up, like I said, the small fries out here. Like we're really picking the scabs off the bone, talking about how this man, pocket watching his money.
Correct.
But we don't have a leg to stand on.
Correct.
Just as you said. The government has assisted other ethnicities and other groups to where they pretty much set them straight financially. Correct. And we're debating about Kyrie and Kanye for like the past month. Unbelievable. Correct. Unbelievable.
What happened to the conversations of us possibly receiving reparations? What happened to those conversations? What happened to those talks? You know what I'm saying? The serious conversations nobody wants to have. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, nobody wants to have them. I think there was a some type of rally that did happen in DC, maybe almost about a month ago, where there was this reparations conference, if you will. But it was just more talk. It wasn't like they're implementing. I don't know if there were any government officials down there to hear the propositions of what the so-called black community wants. But listen, I mean, the president said it best: if you don't vote for me, you're not black. So that there's a mockery going on. They don't really care about you the so-called black person, because you still talking about you're black. And they know this, and they're going to keep tap dancing on you until you realize that you were not a black person. And that's where the conversation will begin. When you now identify yourself not as black, but they put it into their, census, applications. They make it so that you have to choose. But there is a part where it does have other, and you don't have to. You can click that. Because they really want to keep this, this race baiting back and forth to keep that going for so long. And it's like, no, that's not what we were. That's not what we are. So that's why the reparation thing is not going to happen.
They changed you speaking on that, right? They changed our race like 4 times on these applications.
Right. Somebody was having I was on a panel where the guy was trying to explain to somebody that they're going to change that name again coming up. So the African American person is going to be put, that's not going to exist. And this guy works in corporate, and so he knows that that's what they're trying to implement, is changing the name again from Black African American to something else. And these are the conversations. You're worried about this, but we're worried about the wrong thing. Oh, we're going to throw the Jordans, we're going to throw the Nikes and burn them. That's not important. What are you showing? I mean, if you really want to want to ban some stuff, are we talking about climate control? Get rid of all your leather products. Let's see how many people are going to get rid of their leather coats, their leather bags, their leather shoes. Like, it's bigger than just you throwing your Nikes out and burning them. Like, do you know where they're getting these products from? It's really an insanity case that we're dealing with, Brother Maybach, because when you start really thinking about all the bigger scale things that are going on, you like this little peon to what's really good. Like, you really need a group of people to battle this giant, because it's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you want to ban and throw your Nikes out? I mean, how about let's stop wearing that altogether? That's not going to happen. I mean, if you're going to ban something, you got to ban it all. And we're too hypocritical to do that. We're going to choose and pick the time that we can do it, what we're going to do. You still supporting the European designers. Y'all really think that sets you up, Mark? Oh, if I wear the Louis Vuittons and I got the Pradas and Gucci. There are people, melanated people out here, and not even melanated people, but there's people out here that are, they have their companies, but because it's not designer, you're not going to buy it. And then you want to compromise with them and say, oh, why are you going to charge me so much? But you're not going into these corporations and saying, Dad, why is this Louis Vuitton bag $700? You're not rationalizing with the store clerk. You know what I'm saying? But you'll go to one of us who's a small business and say, oh, can you give me, is there a discount? Are you having a little sale? These people are making stuff from scratch. You won't do that to the organizations, but you're going to do it to us. You're harming each other. You know what I'm saying? Come on, you go out there and spend some Jordans, but there's people who make sneakers. I follow a lot of entrepreneurs and Black owned, and I subscribe to that. I get my crystals, I get my herbs, because it's small and few, and they're not getting the Louis Vuitton prices. So it may seem like it's a lot of money. If you go to a small business, to be like, damn, well, take it behind in Walmart and go get something else then. But if you have somebody who's making homemade creams and shea butters and hair products, wow, that's a lot of money. But you're seeing that it works, and there's reports showing that these their products works. Why not? That's what I'm saying. We have to get ourselves, when we start peeling back all this stuff behind us, you're going to be a shell of what you were. All the stuff that you've learned for so long, you're going to look back and be like, damn, because the stuff that's coming in your face now is, listen, they're trying to rewrite history. And we're so busy with the small fries. It's not good. It's not good. I don't know. With the Maybach, are you there, Maybach, or you? I think Maybach disappeared on me. It's not helpful to each other. So you can't sit here and be like, I want reparations, but you're not gonna help your fellow sister out who, has got some hair products that can help, grow your hair out, get your bald spots, your edges back in line. It's insanity. And that's why I'm saying that's not gonna happen. Everybody who's sitting out here who's for that, and great. I don't want to burst bubbles, but when you stop claiming something that they've given you on a status, because they know they got all the books that you're not accessible to, they got all the books. So when you start knowing that who you are and what your liberties are, things might change. They might have a battle now. They might have a case. Because you're going against the grain and you're saying, no, I know what my rights are. They know that land is yours. The road to El Dorado, they know that this land is gold. They've done so much damage control on us and spin us around in so many ways. We're just going for the okie doke. And with some of us, we don't have a choice. Because some of us, we're not in higher positions as they are. Once upon a time we were. I don't know what happened. We had a lot of forefathers that were Republicans and they were melanated. Running stuff back in the 1800s. Running things. And just within 2-3 generations later, like what happened? Where did we fumble the ball at? You know what I'm saying? Or did they compromise us? Did they sell us out? Did the forefathers like, you know what? Yeah, they chattel. You know what I'm saying? Like, was it that type of thing? Because we can't keep saying, oh, the so-called white man, and his wife did damage control, because some of our own people sold us out so that they can profit and get money and feel like they're doing business with this person now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, listen, you're gonna do damage control. You gotta do all of it. We can't just choose and pick. It's got to be everything. And some people are not going to be comfortable with that because it doesn't feel right. It's going against the grain. Now you're going against something. But listen, if you got to stand on those principles, it's not going to be pretty. You know what I'm saying? It's really not going to be pretty. Because then you're going to lose the very luxuries that you like. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the first one to say, listen, I don't want to go over to no other country that doesn't have running water. I love where I live. You know what I'm saying? As crazy as New York City is, I love where I live. I got the liberties. I'm not ready to be going out into the wilderness and try to survive. If I have to, then I have to. I got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? But purposely going in to do that? Nah. No. I'm good. I will work out what I need to work out with my family and friends the best way that I can. But not willingly going to do something that because I feel like I'm going to be better off somewhere. Like, I don't know. But kudos to those passport, what do they call them? Passport buddies, passport girls, boys. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the real talk is that the people who are really about it, then they really need to be about it. But that's gonna be ugly. You're not gonna be comfortable. You're not gonna be comfortable. Where is Maybach now? He left me up here. I'll drop the link if anybody else wants to come through. Otherwise, we can wrap this up. It doesn't need to be a long, lengthy live. But you know, I'll drop Maybach down when he's ready to come back up. He can come up. So yeah, so you know, that's just the realism of it. Like if you're really gonna go to war, sort of say, yeah, there's gonna be some sacrifices that we're gonna have to make. But that's because we have to, not because I want to. Like nobody really wants to. You know, people who have the money, if they can do certain things, like if I had it, we would do it. We try to put some, changes out there. The article one is from the jpost.com, and that's about, will God deliver the 10 commandments for climate control? That's jpost.com. The second article was the UN.org, and that's the COP27 delivering for people and the planet. The United Nations, they had a conference 2 weeks ago. Okay. Let me see if I could, how do I send it? I have to figure out how to send that, or I can just put it in the chat. So the first article is jpost.com. That's the Jerusalem Post article. Yeah, you know what, and that's all we need to do is just read, so we're aware. Saying it's best to be here, and then we'll see. We need to be informed about this, especially people who, religious, like how we are. You know what I mean? I'm really surprised at how this hasn't grown traction. And it just finished, so maybe it will pick up some traction. But I mean, that's kind of mind-blowing that no one's really talking about this. I'm sure the news medias are. But not people who are, we can have these type of platforms and we're not talking about that stuff. So I'm like, well, it's great to, gossip and talk about other things, but it's like, damn, these are things that are really important. Like they're really going to try to eventually down the line. Right. This is what I'm saying. I just heard it over the weekend and I was like, what? Now, actually, I did hear like a murmur about the 10 commandments like 2 weeks ago, but because I follow some religious people, some Hebrew Israelites, they had mentioned this, and I was like, so I didn't hear anything else about it. And then this weekend it came back up again. I was like, oh no. Let me, we gotta talk about that. Because this is like, and I do come up here and I do talk, and quote scripture and read scripture to you guys. And I do talk about, my foundation as being a Christian. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also on the other side of the spectrum of being, a spiritualist in that respect, where, things are a little more in tune for me, you know, and it's not just reading the book. Like, it's more an enlightenment between, you know, supernatural things that I can explain, but, you know, some people won't believe it. And that's going to cause issues moving down the line. That's what I'm saying. I think Rascal had put it in here earlier. Rewriting the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is going to cause a lot of calamity. It's going to cause a lot of another uprise in religion. You know what I'm saying? And this has always been an issue since the dawn of Christianity. It's always been a problem. Because the people who just dealt with the land and their gods and, you know, the earth, they didn't have a Bible. They didn't have a book telling them this is how you should obey the law. This is how you should obey the land. They didn't have that. They already knew. They were in tune. It was them and the spirit of the earth. So now you have some people who are sitting in a little think chamber, creating books and writing it and telling you, you know, listen, this is how we've been inspired by God and Moses and Abraham and Jesus, and all to dismiss the people who are in tune with the land. That's evil. That's sacrilege. That's heretic. But they learn, they're watching these people who are the spiritualists or who are in tune and innate with nature. They're learning all this from them. And then now writing a book that, no, that's evil. What you're doing is evil. And now we're putting them in captivity and making them our slaves, our servants. This is going back to what I was talking about last week as far as the civilization. Just because they weren't, dressed in clothes didn't make these people in the Americas uncivilized. In fact, that's contrary to belief. These people were running empires, creating infrastructures, aqueducts. Oh, they were teaching. Some of the stuff that they did was semi-savagery. I will agree to that. You know, throwing kids in the volcano as a sacrifice. That's a little bit much. That's a little bit much. Hold on a second. So, you know what I'm saying? That's a little off, you know, that part. But for the most part, you know, they were thriving and they were living according to their own rules and their own regulations. It wasn't somebody dictating, a foreigner coming in and dictating and telling them, look, this is what you got to do. So now we move forward 3,000 years later, and we're trying to rewrite something all in the name of climate control or climate, whatever you want to say to it. So it's gonna look a little. It's gonna be, because somebody said it best on their panel yesterday, and that's exactly what's going to happen. The children of Yahweh and all the spiritualists out there, it's going to turn against us because we're not going in accordance to what they want. But they created that, so we're only following what they told us from the get-go. So it's, you know what I'm saying, this cycle of wanting to control and not being able to control the masses. Doing the things that they did back in 2019, 2020. Shutting down the world pretty much. Putting us in a lockdown for a year. Just remember that. Don't fall back asleep because now everything is open again. They don't sleep, so you shouldn't sleep, is what I'm trying to say. They don't sleep, so you shouldn't sleep. They were able to shut down major cities in the world for a year. Okay? So with this conference that they just had, and people banding together, you had the Pope, you had the Catholics, you had the Muslims, you had the Jewish people, Buddhists, you had all faiths walking up towards, I think they were going up to Mount Sinai with this banner that says, many faiths, one world. That's how it's going to look and present to you in the beginning. And after that, they're capable of doing that and shutting down the world. They're capable of doing that. Just imagine what they can be capable of doing next in the guise of climate control, in the guise of we're doing this for humanity. That's a sticky situation in itself, because you got private corporations who are still digging in lands that people are living in. They want to get further. This is why the Amazon was burned. They want to get further into the Amazon so they can build in there, so that they can get the resources out of there. It's not theirs, but it's under private, so it makes it theirs. This world is not, this earth is not your own. It's everybody's. We all share it. But money talks. So therefore, if I got enough money, I can now buy this land out. And I'm putting, all this infrastructure in here, causing more pollution. It's this vicious cycle. So you're causing pollution, but you're fighting climate control. You're fighting to what? You're part of the problem. These industries are part of the problem. So it's a vicious cycle. But all I'm saying is be aware. All right, when in Rome, they want you to follow in suit. That the title is "When in Rome." That means it's a little catchphrase that says, "When in Rome, you do as the Romans do." So that's what it is. They want you to fall into suit, fall in line. This is what they're doing. So they had all these government officials at this conference. They had all different types of religious faith correspondents there. There was, I don't know if they had any of the FBA people or anything along those lines. But know that this country was built off of that religion that they tried to, but that they did damage control by enforcing this religion upon you. You weren't part of that. So it's global, it's bigger than it just being, they're out there just really trying to, make the world a better place. No, my friends. It's something bigger, and we just gotta be. All right. So I think maybe I lost Maybach, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up, guys. Wednesday, I'll be back on to do the midweek check-in for the health, and that is it. So let me just shuffle really quickly. Thank you, everybody who came through. I think Copper. I don't know if I remember Copper, but salute to you. Oh yes, we do have a new subscriber that came through. I'm so excited. Let me get the name. I forgot. So we're gonna shout out them. I appreciate that so very much. Yeah. So new subscriber is Reginald. Salute, Reginald is in the building. Thank you so very much. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get this wisdom oracle to end out our reading. All right. And pay attention to certain things other than the drama and the gossip they want to bring to the table all the time. Pay attention to what's really good out there. Why are they doing this? Why is all this religious stuff being brought up in the first place? See how the conversation about Kanye, that's why I'm like, it's a distraction, it's a detour, and maybe even a decoy. Because see how he was talking about that, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, right before the Senate took place, this conference, excuse me. And he's talking about, oh yeah, well, the blacks are really, they're the true Hebrew Israelites. And now you have this conference where had all these religious faiths going to meet for climate control. I don't want to draw the conclusion that far, but I don't trust nobody at this point. I mean, especially not entertainers. Like, You're not talking, you know what I'm saying? And not when you're not being conscious about it. You're only being conscious about it because you need some backup support. But you talk about this every now and then. But you're not always talking about it. You know what I'm saying? Not like a Tupac, where Pac was always conscious about the injustice of the community and little boys and girls. This one here is not doing that, not talking like that. So that's why I'm like, you are bringing up all this religious stuff, and then boom, now we got this religious conference. The 10 Commandments, they're throwing in the 10 Commandments in there. Man, I don't know. I could just be, as Brother Rich said, spooky good. I could just be, reaching. I could be reaching. Man, all right. November ends the Jason month, so look up what Jasons are too. See the cross there. All right, we got happy again. Last week we got happy as the bottom of the deck, and then we have between worlds in reverse. Bottom of the deck here. Between worlds. So hold on a second. The number here is 26. That's breaking down to 8. All right, so that's that infinity. But what's interesting is, Lotus, you had mentioned the number 3, and then this card here, the bottom of the deck, that number is 3. In between worlds. All right, so I always take this card as just what it is, in between worlds, as far as spiritually speaking. I wanted to say that, and I guess that is the message, is that, we're coming into the the time of the year where the days get shorter, right? The nights are longer. People might have had some people transition during this time a couple of years ago, or just the holidays could bring up, this, your family member who transitioned is no longer here. So this brings this, depression, this sadness. There is such a thing as seasonal depression, especially if you're locked in your house all the time because of the cold weather. That can play a part on your psyche with this happy here. So it's finding things that you like to do, maybe having a certain kind of lighting in your home that can help bring up this vibrancy in you. All right. Taking vitamins. So sea moss, I have showed you guys the company that I use. But this is the time to especially because this is the week going into the hallmark holiday of Thanksgiving. Which is insanity in itself, but I'm really trying to get out of it. But my kids are like, "Are you cooking dinner?" I'm making a little Sunday dinner, but I really don't want to celebrate that. And like my family, side note, it's just like, because that it's not something to be celebrated for. You're celebrating your captors and you're being thankful for them breaking bread with you. You know what I'm saying? Like the insanity of that. And we're going to go all out. We're going to spend. They said that the price of turkey has gone up from 2020. Like it's just the prices are like astronomical compared to a couple of years ago. And I honestly had stopped when my grandmother had transitioned in 2018 because she passed away at the beginning of November. And me and my cousin were like telling her like, so we need you to get better so, we could do this Thanksgiving. And she was just like, you guys figure it out. And she transitioned away. So, and we put all this emphasis on getting things and whose house are we going to, this, that, and the third. And it's just like the insanity of celebrating it all when we had people who colonized us, watched us cultivate our land, took that away, and now gave us some crumbs and said, okay, we can break bread with you on this day. We're so grateful that you showed us how to, show us how to grow your crops and, fishing and stuff like that, and use all the supplies on the ground, on the land there. It's just insanity when you start thinking about it. So, so back to the reading is, finding your happiness during this time, finding your peace of mind, finding your sanity. Yeah, 36. Yeah. Salute, Andor, salute. I got some chicken pieces and I just got them sitting and seasoning in my household, but it's just like, it's insane. I'm thankful for, being here, you know what I'm saying? And having family and stuff like that. But the overall of it is not a good thing to be celebrating. It's just not. Yes, you're paying all this money for what? I don't know, but that's just how I feel, guys. And again, sometimes I burst bubbles. I don't mean to. Sometimes I do to get people to think. But it's just like, same thing with Christmas. This is what I'm saying. Like some people, you might feel, Black Friday's coming up. Why is it Black Friday? It's Thanksgiving, and then they deem this commercial spending called Black Friday. So now you just made a mockery of us, and now you're going to spend on behalf of us. And we're the ones that are standing on line, not just us. I want to make that correction. But we're going all out. We are going all out to buy and spend again, and we're going to go to big companies and big corporations, standing online at Best Buy, standing online at Toys R Us, when there are entrepreneurs who are making things, you know, out here, Black owned. Support their business. If you're going to do a Black Friday, go with a Black. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on? They're jacking the prices up for us. Like, what? You're going to stand on the line. Like, so you just finished eating. Now you're going to go and get yourself all ready. Go spend this money on these big companies. Spend your money. Spend your Black dollars on a Black person. Look, she's a nice little brown nutmeg baby. All right. But no, I mean, you know, it depends. Even it doesn't even have to be a Black person. It's just the small businesses. Give them the money. The mom and pops. You know what I'm saying? Instead of going to these big companies, this is how we're going to have to turn things around. You know what I'm saying? Going to stand on some Target and some Walmart. Go to your local small mom and pop shops and give them that play. Give them that money. You know, so your money's not going in vain. And that's, you know, this is also that happy. It's that that's what I'm saying. Like, even if you do business amongst yourselves, that's the happiness. I feel good when I go online and I'm supporting this company that I love getting my crystals and stuff from. Because I know that these people are thriving and they're out here, you know, doing what they can. They're not a big company, but I've been giving my money to big companies for years. You know what I'm saying? This is all great. I still, you know, hey, I visit Amazon. Love me some Amazon. But if I can support and I have a good rapport with the small businesses that I'm dealing with, and I have no issues, then that's where I'm going to go to. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's nothing wrong with the big companies, but you know what I'm saying? So, you know, in this time, it's finding your happiness, finding your peace of mind. And if your happiness is going to see family members during this time, and it's the only time you can go see them, all right, you know, that's another thing. Like, oh, Thanksgiving, I haven't seen you all year, but y'all want me to make some dinner. But if that's the only time you can do that, then so be it. You know, make somebody else's life happy for that moment in time. Fine. But I'm really getting more of like not PTSD, but more of that, you know, that sadness, because for some people, this is the time where, you know, they're missing a loved one. You know what I'm saying? Like, Thanksgiving would be the reason to see family members. It would be the reason to see that person who's transitioned and not here anymore. So, you know, it's making the most of it. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, and I am, and I hate it. Because I try to go against the grain so much, and it's like I feel like I'm going against the grain by myself. But I know other people are doing it too, and they got family members that are not like them, and you're going to be the so-called black sheep of the family. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of isolates you. And while you feel happy doing what it is that you're standing up against, it's like your family's not with you on that, and that kind of sucks, because it's like we've been so conditioned and brainwashed to fall in line with, you know, the okie doke with society. So yeah, we're gonna go out and we're gonna do all this extra stuff. But it's like, damn, I don't feel right in my spirit for doing that. I don't feel right, you know. But some people, it's like we gotta compromise, and that can make things a little better, a little easier during this time, right? But also, I'm just getting, you know, if you have to set a little plate or a candle, you know, and some fruit for your loved one that's passed over, because I'm getting that this also is going to make them happy with this between world. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, you know, setting a little time, or you don't even have to do all that. If you're not subscribing to candles and food for them, just taking a few minutes in quiet reflection and just saying, you know what, I'm thinking of you during this time. I miss you. I love you. I'm thankful for, all the things that, you have done for our family. I'm thankful that you existed in our family. So it could be anybody that you have, that you're close with, that has transitioned. So, if you're not subscribing to the altars and all the other good stuff, it's just having a quiet moment with speaking to these people that have transitioned over and just letting them know, you are grateful, you do think about them, and you're thinking about them even more so during this time. Yeah. You have emancipated yourself. Man, it's like, come on, like, my daughter texted me too, and it was funny because I was in the grocery store yesterday, and I said, let me pick up this little chicken. But them folks was in there yesterday getting all kinds of goodies, sides, you name it, everything for Thanksgiving, and I was just going to get my regular stuff. I said, let me get this chicken. Somebody's going to be looking for food. And sure enough, my oldest texted me, Mom, what are we doing? What's the plans for Thanksgiving? I'm just like, so it's just a regular day for me, but I hear it. I know. But for some people, it's still a tradition. And that's why I said, in reflection, we must be thankful and giving thanks to our families, giving thanks to God above, of the things that we have here, and we should be doing that on a regular basis. But if you're subscribing to this whole holiday thing, the whole Thanksgiving, then you definitely should be doing that. You know what I'm saying? You should be praying before you eat and giving thanks to the hands that made the food. And stop taking for granted that grandma's going to be always cooking for you. You better show some love and go hang out with grandma every now and then. Go hang out with your mom every now and then if you can. Go hang out with your father if you can. Not just use this one time as an excuse to get together. You should be doing that automatically. You know what I'm saying? But giving thanks on that day, like really sincerely, like stop in the middle before everybody eats. It's just let's give this homage back. You know what I'm saying? Give it back and go ahead and enjoy yourself, But I'll be back on Wednesday to do the midweek check-in. We could do mini readings then as well. And again, my website is open on the banner scrolling across. You will see the website there for personal readings. The calendar is open now. The website is open, and just in time for the holidays, you get to read and see what your new year is going to be looking like. But just know that I'm only doing now the romance, the 5-card spread, and an oracle. So there's 3 things there. I had 5, but I took some things out of my website because it just, especially the past life, I love it. The past life reading is like my baby. But I'm just going to put it out there. If somebody is interested in getting a past life reading, then they can hit me up on Instagram and message me and let me know that that's what they want. And I will make accommodations for that. But for right now, I'm going to leave that off. Maybe, in the upcoming year, I'll put it back on the past life reading. But for the most part, it's going to be just what I do on live, but it's going to be more personal and more direct. And, if you're not, you are not used to a reading, or you've never had one, my suggestion would be to just get the oracle, which is a 1-card reading. And, it's not that, it's about 15 minutes, if that. And, take it how if you like it and it resonates with you, then you could go ahead and book another reading, which is a 5-card reading, which is a little more extended. Thank you, my Lotus. Love you so much. is more intense. And if you're interested in romance reading, then that's specifically just for romance. I do that as well. So with that being said, guys, I thank you so much. I thank you for the new subscriber. You guys are awesome for holding it down. My Lotus for always holding it down on the spot anytime. It's like, all right, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Maybach, who came through earlier, I appreciate you. My Lotus, my beauty queen. Anthor came through, so salute. And everybody else that came through. My Miss Sharon, I will see you on the flip side as well, guys. So be well, be safe, and